I'm Bob Riggio, and with me is Captain Dr. John Barlow, who was a Army veteran in the medical field back in the late, I would say the late 40s or late 50s. So we'll be talking to John about some of his experiences in the Army. Dr. Barlow, thank you so much for joining us and talking to us about some of the stories that you have while serving in the Army. First of all, Medical Corps, the Army Medical Corps, you served for a couple of years, correct?
Yes. All here at Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
Those 2 years at Fort Bragg, North Carolina?
Yeah.
And pathology, is that what you were?
Yes, I was.
And you have some stories that you would like to convey. Why don't you tell us one or two?
One story.
All right, all right.
I got in, they drafted me, and they didn't give me any training. You know, there's a bunch of training you gotta have to get in. They just put me in the medical corps, and I'm walking to the hospital. When I got in the Army, I came in as an officer. When you're a doctor, you become an officer when you get drafted, you know.
Right.
So that's how I got to be an officer.
Okay, and then you were on your way to the hospital. Can you recall some of your first experiences as when you were?
Well, I was lucky. I'm not in jail.
Okay.
I'm walking along, and I've got some stuff in my right hand. This is the Army now.
Yeah.
I got some stuff in my right hand. I'm walking along, and this light colonel or something like that came up to me, and of course, you're supposed to salute him. I had stuff in my right hand, so I saluted him with my left hand, and he just stopped me, and he came up to me, and he stared at me. He said, "Doc," he said, "you know, you could be in jail for years for that kind of thing." I still wasn't exactly. I saluted him with the wrong hand.
Yeah, but but at least you knew which hand to salute him from. It was your right hand, but you had some stuff in your right hand, and you couldn't salute him with the right hand.
I don't think that's the way you're supposed to do it.
That's not a good enough excuse, is it?
No, I think you're supposed to put it all down, stop,
and then salute him.
Well, I never had any of that training.
Yeah.
And he looked at me, and he charged up to me.
Oh, okay.
And he looked at me, looked at my insignias. He just shook his head. Oh, God. There were some tough times. I was at Fort Bragg, which is a big hospital.
Yeah.
They used to have a lot of training exercises there, and they had a lot of people injured, and we saw a lot of very seriously injured people from those, it was a parachute.
Right.
Division.
The 101st, or either the 82nd or the 101st.
I was in the 82nd. I never got to see active duty, though.
So you spent your 2 years at Fort Bragg in North Carolina.
Did.
And when you got out of the service, John, you continued to practice medicine.
Oh, yes.
Was that here in South Dakota now, or where was that?
Yeah, I came to South Dakota, yes. I trained in Boston, but I knew this friend of mine I trained with, and he wanted me to work with him, so I did. Came out here.
Was it a private practice or with the
It was private practice.
Private practice?
Yeah.
As a pathologist?
Yes. And I had no idea where South Dakota was.
Yeah.
I'd never been off the East Coast. I mean, I tell people and they laugh. When you talked about going to Philadelphia, you were talking about going west.
But South Dakota's a little further west than Philadelphia from New Jersey, isn't it? Quite a bit.
Yes. I had to practice somewhere. And I would have been happy to practice in New England or something, but I got this very good job in South Dakota, and so I came. I had no idea what it was like.
Did you like it when you got here?
Oh, yeah. This is a great place to live. My wife was from Upper New Hampshire.
And she came with you to South Dakota.
Yep.
Did she have any second thoughts about coming to South Dakota?
She probably did. She was from New Hampshire,
Yeah.
and she was from the far upper New Hampshire farm. You're all farming, and she thought that was a great idea to go with a bunch of farmers.
And there's a bunch of farmers and ranchers in South Dakota.
Yeah, there were. I've
You-
just been very fortunate. Things could have been much. I mean, I could have been in Korea. I could have been all kinds of places. And I didn't have anything to do with it. It's just where they assigned me. I was very fortunate.
All right, John, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. We
Okay,
really
you're
appreciate it.